GTS Jets. What is going on, Jet fans? And welcome back to another episode of the Jets Ward. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. In this episode, I got something fun for you guys planned. But first, if you have been here before, welcome back. You know I always love having you guys in the Jets Ward no matter what. And if you are new here, welcome. Whether you're a Jets fan, a fan of another NFL team, or just a casual NFL fan, you are always welcome here in the Jets Ward no matter what. This is a safe space for you. But guys, training camp is right around the corner, and teams are getting ready for some more practices, some fun, getting ready for the season. It's getting closer. Some big moves have been being made, trades that have taken place in the offseason, holdouts that have been taking place in the offseason, extensions that have been taking place recently. Exciting for Jets fans. Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson have been extended for the New York Jets. But there are still some players on teams that could possibly be moved before training camp starts. Now, on the docket today, I have 10 players that I could see getting dealt before training camp begins. And some of these players, there have been rumors about them possibly being traded. And some of these are some bigger name players that I could definitely see being traded to help out some teams because of depth that they have on their team and because of other players and different ideologies that these teams have, maybe with some new leadership or with different things going on. But I have these 10 players picked out. The team fits that I think would be beneficial. I have 3 for each team. Now, let me get into it. And the first one is going to be an obvious one for Jets fans and for a lot of people since the new Steelers quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, came into play. The player that I have first is Allen Lazard. There have been rumors all offseason that since A-Rod left, Allen Lazard could be cut or traded. There have been things going on even since last year, that rumors that were going on last year that Allen Lazard could have been dealt. The Steelers were one of those interested teams. Now that they have Aaron Rodgers on the team, Allen Lazard tends to go where Rodgers goes. He says that he wants to be a Jet, which is very interesting, but we don't know if that's going to happen. He did take a massive pay cut, which might be more enticing for teams to trade for him now. As we know, the Jets wide receiver group is not the strongest. We have Garrett Wilson, who's a bona fide number 1 receiver. But then other than that, it's not really like a solid number 2 receiver. There's Lazard, there's Reynolds, there's Tyler Johnson, there's Arian Smith, and so on and so forth. Malachi Corley you could possibly put in there as well. Xavier Gipson maybe? I don't know. Jamal Pritchett, Quentin Skinner. There's a lot of names, but none of them look like a bona fide number 2 receiver. But Allen Lazard, I don't know if he fits this team. There's been a lot of issues since he's come here. He's been injured a lot. He's had a lot of bad penalties, a lot of bad drops, and maybe a fresh start might be good for him. And he's 29 years old, so he's not that old yet, and he's still got some talent. When he's on the field, he does make some big plays. But I just don't know if the Jets are a good fit for him right now. Teams that I think could be a good fit, the Steelers, obviously, because they have Aaron Rodgers. And if you look at that team, DK Metcalf is the number 1 receiver there, but they're in a similar situation to the Jets. They have Calvin Austin as another receiver. Can he be a solid number 2 option? You have Roman Wilson. You have Peter Skoranek as well over there. You have all of these different players, but I don't think any of them I don't know if any of them are a number 2 receiver. Allen Lazard has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers, so that might be beneficial. But if that doesn't work out, the Raiders could definitely use his services. They have Geno Smith as their new quarterback. They have Jacoby Myers as their number 1. And maybe he can come in as a bigger-bodied receiver because we know Pete Carroll likes his bigger-bodied receivers. He had DK Metcalf, and he was thriving with him. But one thing that Lazard can do is he can block. He can block pretty well, and that Raiders team looks like they're going to be a big running team this year with their new rookie running back, Ashton Genty. So could Lazard fit there? I think he could. And another team, the Giants. Again, they have Malik Neighbors, but other than that, the receiving core is pretty weak. Maybe Allen Lazard could fit right in there, being with a Russell Wilson. And later on, a possible Jackson Dart. Could he help him out? But I think these teams will be the better fits for Allen Lazard if the Jets were to trade him. I definitely could see it happening before training camp starts because there's been some wild moves going on already. But Allen Lazard getting traded, I don't think is that crazy of a thing. Now, getting into the next one. Here's a bigger name player that I think could be dealt. And a lot of fans might be shocked about this one. Trayvon Diggs, cornerback of the Cowboys. There were rumors in the offseason that he could possibly be dealt. He has dealt with injuries throughout his entire career. And last year, DaRon Bland came out and played very, very well as the number one cornerback when Trayvon Diggs went down. They traded for Kaiir Elam, who could break out as well. They also got Sherron Revel, who they drafted, who's a highly touted cornerback, but dealt with injuries as well. Trayvon Diggs, he's only 26 years old, but he's dealt with injuries throughout his career. When he's on the field, he is a legit number one cornerback. But the problem is the Cowboys have been spending a ton of money. They have George Pickens' contract coming up. They have just re-signed CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott might need a new contract. Micah Parsons is still looking for a big contract. Would they be able to financially keep Trayvon Diggs? I don't think so. And I think that they would move on from him. And the best fits that I could definitely see, Miami Dolphins cornerback room is in shambles. They don't have very good cornerbacks at all. So Trayvon Diggs could come in still at a young age and be a premier cornerback one for them for years to come. And I think they have the money to be able to pay him. So he could definitely be a player that they would be happy with. The Raiders, again, they also have a very weak cornerback room. And he could go in there and try to rejuvenate his career there and be a solid cornerback. Because if you can succeed in Vegas with the Raiders, that's eye-opening. And they haven't had good cornerbacks in many, many years. And another team is the Titans. Their cornerback room's not awful. They have Darius Sneed, who is a solid cornerback, but as a number two option, they don't really have one. You have Trayvon Diggs get traded there. Then you have two legit number one cornerbacks there. So those are options for Trayvon Diggs if he were to be traded. And I honestly don't think that's that crazy if he were to be traded. The Cowboys do have players there that could hop in and fill that spot. DaRon Bland showed he could hold his own last year. I think Kaiir Elam still has a lot of potential in this league. And Sherron Revel, if he didn't get hurt last year in college, he could have been looked at as the best cornerback in that draft class. So if he can stay healthy, they might have found something with him. So Trayvon Diggs, I think, could possibly be on the outside looking in and could possibly be dealt, especially with big contracts on the horizon for the Cowboys. So they might want to deal him sooner rather than later so that they can get something for him. Continuing on. The third player, I got Michael Pittman Jr. And this is very similar to the Cowboys with Trayvon Diggs having backup or having players that could start and take his place. Michael Pittman for the Colts, he hasn't lived up to a first-round draft pick like he was. He's a solid receiver, a really good one. But he hasn't lived up to his potential. I still think he can be really good. He's only 27 years old. But if you look at the Colts receiving room, they got Ashton Dolan, who's a really good receiver. Alec Pierce, who showed up in big moments last year. Josh Downs, who I think they really, really like. And Adonai Mitchell, who is very young, didn't show much last year, but I think they really, really like him and could possibly be a big option for them this year coming up, especially with Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback, which is looking like it's going to be. Michael Pittman could use a restart, could use a separate area to play. And I think a new team would be very valuable for him. One team could be the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk is coming off a massive injury. So they don't know how he's going to play. They got Ricky Pearsall, who is coming off an injury as well. They got Juwan Jennings, who's looked at as their number one receiver right now. But the problem is he wants a new contract. If he doesn't get his new contract, he could possibly want out of 49ers. And we don't know what they're going to do with that situation. So Michael Pittman for the 49ers, I think, could be very, very good. He's still a young receiver, a very good possession type receiver, solid hands, not the quickest guy, but has a lot of power. I think he could fit really good with the 49ers. And that's the same with the Lions. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is a very good gadget player, but a great receiver, great hands, very fast. Jameson Williams, who could take the top off of defense, but they don't have that big-bodied receiver. They have Tim Patrick, who could be that, but he's on the older side. Michael Pittman could be the younger version of that and could be a very good complement to Amon-Ra St. Brown and to Jameson Williams. So I think the Lions could definitely use his services as well. Then the Browns. Get a good compliment to Jerry Jeudy. I think Pittman could come in there and be a great number two receiver behind Jerry Jeudy. So a 1A, 1B type of situation. So these are three options that I really think could fit Michael Pittman if he were to be traded, which honestly, again, I wouldn't be shocked if it were to happen. And continuing on, getting into number 4, I got Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning, I don't know how the Saints feel about him. They could be in for a rebuild. And you had Trevor Penning last year, who was the left guard for them. He had a ton of penalties last year. It looked rough for him. He could take a step forward, but they also have solid backups that they could take over and start for him. He's only 26. There's a lot of football left in his career. And honestly, I think a different situation would probably fit him better. The Steelers, they could definitely use some offensive line help, but a better situation, I think, for him could be the Eagles. Look what they did with Mekhi Becton. They took him from the Jets. They signed him and made him one of the best guards in football, to where he catapulted that Super Bowl champion to a good contract with the Chargers. The Eagles know what they're doing. Howie Roseman can see potential in players and see greatness, and their head coach, Sirianni, can get them there. He's a great coach. He can get them there. Penning could be that type of player that's not working out for the Saints, but could definitely work out for them. And they definitely need another right guard, because the guy they have, I don't think, is the best. So Penning could definitely come in and take Mekhi Becton's spot since he left and be a solidified right guard for them for many, many years. Ravens, again, I think the Ravens could definitely use some offensive line help as well, because their offensive line's not the best. They have Ronnie Stanley, who's a great left guard. They got Linderbaum, who's an awesome center. But other than that, their offensive line is a little Rosengarten as right tackle is pretty good. But the guards, I think, could be a little bit better. And Trevor Penning could definitely fit that system as well, especially with Lamar and Derrick Henry running behind you. So continuing on, getting into number 5, I got Jauan Jennings. Of course. Why wouldn't you have Jauan Jennings on here? You never know what the Raiders could do. You didn't know that they were going to trade Debo. There were talks about it, but you thought he was going to get his contract there. They ended up shipping him off to the Commanders. Brandon Ayuk, unhappy, wanted a trade, wanted out. They gave him a contract. Jauan Jennings, what are they going to do? Are they going to give him his contract? What could it be? Are they going to try to trade him? What could they get? Honestly, I think he could be traded. I really do. And I see him as a solid number 2 option receiver, a high-end number 2 receiver. And you know what team that needs that? The New York Jets. The Jets need a solid number 2 receiver. He's a great blocker. He plays his ass off every single game. Solid hands, great blocker, not the fastest guy, but is a great possession type of receiver. The Jets trade for him. That's a perfect complement to Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor, the new tight end, who is a great receiver as well and a solid blocker. Jauan Jennings feels like an AG type of player, and I think that would be a good move for the New York Jets to make the trade for him. And I don't know if he's going to cost you a ton. Maybe a 5th-round pick, maybe a 4th. Maybe you can do a pick swap or something like that to get him. Maybe you trade Allen Lazard and a pick to the Niners for Jauan Jennings. There's different things that they could do. If the Jets don't, I could definitely see the Raiders doing it. The Raiders need wide receiver help too. You got Jacoby Myers, who I also don't think is a great number 1 receiver, but he's a lower end number 1, great number 2 receiver. I see Jauan Jennings in that same light. But you put these two together, I think you give Geno Smith some great weapons. So Jauan Jennings to the Raiders could be a possibility too. Titans are another one. You got Calvin Ridley, and I really like Chig Okonkwo. I think he's going to take a step forward now that Cam Ward is there. But other than that, I think the Titans should trade for him. Get him a solid number 2 receiver. Help out your young quarterback. I know they got the other receiver, Restrepo, from the Miami Hurricanes last year, Cam Ward's teammate, but you don't know what he's going to do. He's an undrafted rookie. And you just lost Akine Westbrook to the Miami Dolphins. Trade for Jauan Jennings. You give your Cam Ward a solid number 2 option and surround him with more weapons, which I think could be very beneficial for the Titans. Number 6, I got A.J. Dillon. On the Eagles depth chart at this point, he is their 3rd running back. I don't know if he fits that offense the best. I think he could be a great complement to Saquon, but I think A.J. Dillon could be a solid number 1 back or a high-end number 2 back. He's only 27 years old. He's dealt with injuries in his career, but he is a power back. He will run people over. He's not a bad blocker either. Not the fastest guy, but you're on the goal line, you hand him the ball, nobody's going to stop him. And the teams that I think could definitely use that, the Buffalo Bills, don't always rely on Josh Allen to be the guy to bust it into the end zone from 1 yard out or a couple inches out. I understand he could do it, but that's a lot of wear and tear on his body. You want somebody who could take the load off him. You got James Cook, but there's issues going on there. I think they're going to re-sign him. You give him a good compliment as a back. A.J. Dillon would be perfect for the Buffalo Bills, giving James Cook, who's that speedy, really good one-cut back, take a load off of him, give him a guy who's going to beat the defense up. A.J. Dillon is that type of player. And you take pressure off of Josh Allen because now he's not going to have to run for his life every single play. Even though I like their offensive line, Josh Allen ran a ton, and there were designed runs too. Get A.J. Dillon there, I think that helps out Josh Allen a ton too because he's not going to take as much of a beating, even though he's so freaking athletic and big and everything and powerful. Get A.J. Dillon there, you get a power back. You don't have to rely on Josh Allen to be the one to go for the short yardage. I know he can do it, but you want to be able to play for a long time. A.J. Dillon could be that power guy to bruise the defense up, beat them up, and to wither them down. Same thing with the Bengals. You got Joe Burrow, who is not a running quarterback, but you really like your running back in Chase Brown. They like him. He's a solid back, good speed guy, good one-cut back. You need somebody to complement him. Get A.J. Dillon. He's your power guy. And he could really, like the same thing I said with the Bills, could really, really beat the defense up. 49ers, too. You want to take a load off McCaffrey, who's coming off an injury. Get A.J. Dillon. I think that could definitely fit, too, because he's in that type of West Coast offense that he's played in. Look at what they did with Green Bay. I think he fits that offense really good, too. But A.J. Dillon is another one on this list that I could definitely see getting traded to another team, even though he just signed with the Eagles, I believe, this past offseason. Definitely could see him getting traded as well. Continuing on, get to number 7. I got Evan Neal. Now, Evan Neal is a very interesting prospect here. He has been the right tackle of the Giants for a little while now. He's not the starter anymore since they got Jermaine Illuminor, but I honestly don't think tackle is the right position for him. I think if you put him as guard, I think he could be very solid. I think he could be really good. I didn't like him coming out as tackle when he got drafted, but as a guard, I think he could be very, very good. No, I think he can be good. I can see him being like a Mekhi Becton type, where tackle's not right, you bump him into guard, and he can be solid. Similar to what the Giants had years ago with Eric Flowers. Not a great tackle, a turnstile at tackle. He went to the Redskins or the football team. I don't remember which one they were at the time. Bumped him into guard, and he was a solid guard. Ended up getting a big contract with the Miami Dolphins. Fizzled out there, but he ended up salvaging his career. Evan Neal could do the same thing. He's only 24 years old, too. He's got the size. He's got that athleticism that you want. He's 24. Giants fans, I don't really think like him that much because of comments he made during the season. But I think teams will see that youth, can see that young age, the athleticism that he has, bump him into guard, and I think he could be fine. Steelers are a team that could definitely use O-line help. Ravens, like I said before. And I'm going to bump the Bills on here too. They have another young guard who I've been critical of, Osiris Torrance, who I think is the weakest part of their offensive line. Maybe the Bills trade for Evan Neal, give that guy competition, and see who the best one is. And if Evan Neal wins, that could be a bolster to that Bills offensive line. That's already a pretty good unit. So that's an interesting concept as well. Could Evan Neal be traded? I wouldn't be too shocked if he was before the training camp starts, especially with all the people that the Giants have brought in for that offensive line in this offseason. Going into number 8, I got Jameis Winston. I think this one's an obvious one. Jameis Winston is on a team that has They signed him the offseason. He was going to be their starter. Then they signed Russell Wilson, which I think caught him off guard. Then they drafted Jackson Dart. They traded back into the first round to get Jackson Dart. They re-signed Tommy DeVito as well. That quarterback room is loaded. And I honestly think Jameis Winston could start in this league. I think he's a very good quarterback. He's a good gunslinger. He's going to throw his interceptions. But I honestly think he's not getting any younger. He wants another shot to be able to start. Teams that I think he could be beneficial for, I don't know if there's a lot of teams that he's going to start for. One, though, that players have come out and said they want him back, the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr retired. That put the Saints in a really bad situation. They have rookie Tyler Shuck, who I think is going to start for them. And they have Desmond Ridder, I believe, is their other quarterback. Or Spencer Rattler. It's one of the others. I think it's Spencer Rattler. So you have Spencer Rattler there, and you have Tyler Shuck. Jameis Winston can get traded there and be the starter like that. And Saints could win some games with him as the starter. He's not a bad quarterback. He won some games for the Browns last year and played pretty good. And he's a great locker room leader. I honestly think the players rally around him. They like him. I think he could be a great, great player for the Saints and a great leader in that locker room. Players there want him back. Could the Saints trade for him? I definitely think they could. Bengals, they could use a solid backup. They have Jake Browning behind Joe Burrow. I don't think he's a legitimate backup. I think you bring in Jameis, and if Burrow goes down, which he has before because that offensive line is weak, he could come in and win you some games. With that offense, he could definitely win you some games. Patriots, too. Drake May, I understand they got Josh Dobbs back there, but I think Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Josh Dobbs. If something happens to Drake May, Jameis can come in. Their new head coach, Mike Vrabel, actually worked with the Browns and got to see him up close and play last year. So that could be a connection right there. So Jameis Winston to the Saints, Bengals, or Patriots, I definitely could see happening as well. I don't think he ends up on the Giants for very long. If anything, he could get traded during training camp. But I think it's more possible he gets traded before training camp starts. Going into number 9, Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington is a very interesting player. I think he's got the size to be a very dominant force in the league. He's 6'7". He's a monster of a man. The Steelers used him as a real big red zone threat last year, but also as a great blocker. He's a fantastic blocker as a tight end. And he's not a bad receiver either. They didn't utilize him the best as a receiver, but he's not the fastest, but he is a monster out there. You put him on a little slant route, a nickel corner ain't going to be able to cover him. He'll run them right over. Safety, too. He's bigger than half of these guys. Linebackers will struggle to cover him, too. He's got good hands. He's not the fastest, but he's got some speed. And he's a fantastic blocker. He's only 23 years old. And since the Steelers traded for Jonnu Smith and they still have Pat Freiermuth, I think Darnell Washington became expendable. And honestly, the Steelers don't like using their tight ends anyway. It showed in Arthur Smith's offense. Definitely could be a person they could trade. Team fits. I think the Lions, he could be a perfect complement to Laporta. That team wants to run the ball. Get a solid tight end who's a fantastic blocker as well, like Sam Laporta. The run game's only going to get better. Chiefs as well. Travis Kelce ain't going to be there forever. This might be his last year. You got Noah Gray, who showed flashes of that he could be a solid starter in this league. Give him a compliment like Darnell Washington, and I honestly think that he can thrive. The Jets, I mentioned this before. I think the Jets could use more help in that tight end room. I love Mason Taylor. I think he's going to be very, very good, and his blocking looked like it's going to get better. Great receiver. Jeremy Rucker has not shown signs of improvement. They're showing like he could be great. They're expecting good things from him this year. I don't know. And then you got Stone Smart, who is a receiving threat, but not much of a blocker. Then you got Zach Kuntz, who I don't think is going to make this team. Darnell Washington, you trade for Darnell Washington, I don't think it's going to cost you a lot either. Darnell Washington for an Allen Lazard trade, I think could happen player for player. I think that would be good. But Darnell Washington, I would love as a complement to this offense the Jets have. I think he's a perfect fit in this Jets offense that's going to want to run the ball. AG and Tanner Engstrand are coming from a Detroit Lions offense where they ran the freaking ball. and they want tight ends that can block. They want receivers that can block. The mantra is no block, no rock, okay? Meaning you have to block. If you want the ball, you got to block. Darnell Washington's already proved that he can be a good blocker in this league. And he's been shown flashes that he can be a solid receiver. I think he could complement Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor and whoever our number 2 receiver is, Josh Reynolds, let's say. I think he could be a great complement running 2 tight end sets. I think that could be very, very good. Or even 3 tight end sets where you have Mason Taylor, Jeremy Rucker, and Darnell Washington out there. I think that could be very, very good. I really, really do. And I'm a big fan of Darnell Washington. I really would love to see the Jets get him because I think he just fits that AG type of style that we want to play. And the last one, and I'm sticking with the Steelers here, I got Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson's a very interesting prospect. He was drafted out of Michigan and came in there. He's not the biggest receiver. He's a slot receiver, but he was injured, banged up last year a lot. And I just don't know what the Steelers want in him. They got DK Metcalf. They got Calvin Austin, who is a slot receiver, looking at their number 2. They've got players there above him in the receiving depth. Honestly, I think they could move on from Roman Wilson. I believe he's only like 23 years old. He's not very old. Dealt with a lot of injuries last year. But I think he could fit on another team. I don't think the Steelers and him are gonna last long. I think the Niners could definitely use him using a slot receiver. They have Ricky Pearsall, who can play outside and in. I think he would be a good complement to Ricky Pearsall. Dolphins could definitely use him. They love their speedy receivers, and Roman Wilson's another speedy receiver. And the Broncos, too. They could use more speed on that receiving core. They got Troy Franklin, who also has some speed. But I think Roman Wilson in the slot could be a very, very beneficial thing for them. But, guys, this is all of the players that I think could possibly be traded before training camp. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications of when I upload. That'll let you know anytime I post a video. Make sure you follow me on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok as well under the name Jets Ward. I love posting these videos. I hope you're enjoying them too. Make sure you enjoy. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, like I said. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in the Jets Ward. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.